Hey everyone, and welcome back to Sip and Talk.
Ready to spread some holiday cheer.
Oh man, December already. I swear, this year flew by faster than Santa's sleigh on Christmas Eve.
Speaking of Santa, I saw this kid at the mall the other day dressed head to toe as an elf. Tiny green suit, pointy hat, the whole shebang. It was adorable. Until he started screaming for a pony.
Only in December, right?
Seriously. So speaking of December, we figured it's the perfect time to do a deep dive into Christmas.
But we're not just talking about presents and carols, though. We're going all in history culture, you name it. We've got a stack of research here ready to unpack what this holiday really means to us.
Because, let's be honest, most of us know Christmas as this giant festive extravaganza, but there's so much more to it than meets the eye.
Totally. Like, we all know it's supposed to be about the birth of Jesus, right? But get this, the Bible doesn't actually give us his birthday.
Wait, seriously. So December 25th is kinda random.
It's not totally random, but you're on the right track. Historians believe early Christians chose December 25th to coincide with Roman festivals that were already happening around the winter solstice.
So it's like they piggybacked on an existing party. Smart move.
Talk about efficient marketing. But also kind of sneaky, right?
Well, it was a way to make Christianity more appealing to a wider audience back then. Over time, the celebration evolved, blending those pagan traditions with Christian beliefs to become the Christmas we know today.
That's actually pretty cool. It's like this giant cultural mashup that's been going on for centuries. But let's be real. The first thing that most people think of when they hear Christmas isn't ancient Rome.
It's presents and decorations. And that awkward family dinner where your aunt asks when you're finally getting married.
Every single year. But you're right, the commercial side of Christmas is kind of hard to ignore.
It's like this giant sparkly elephant in the room wearing a Santa hat and holding a 50% off sign.
Okay, that's a pretty accurate visual. But seriously, is all this commercialization a good thing or a bad thing?
And there are definitely strong arguments on both sides. Let's start with the positive side. Christmas is a massive economic booster. In the U.S. alone, holiday spending could reach over $900 billion this year.
$900 billion. Someone's going to be making bank off all those reindeer sweaters and inflatable snowmen.
And eggnog. Don't forget the eggnog.
Right. All that spending creates jobs, supports businesses, and even attracts tourists. Think about those famous Christmas markets in Europe. People come from all over the world to experience that holiday magic.
And let's not forget about those over-the-top Christmas lights displays. I saw one last year that was synchronized to music. They even had a smoke machine for dramatic effect.
Okay, that's next level. It's kind of impressive though, right? People get so creative.
Absolutely. There's a whole industry built around Christmas decorations, and it fuels a lot of creativity and even friendly competition. Remember that article about Japan we read? They've got this whole tradition of eating KFC for Christmas.
Wait, what? KFC? Like Colonel Sanders and mashed potatoes for Christmas dinner?
Yep.
Apparently, it started as a clever marketing campaign back in the 70s, and now it's a full-blown Christmas tradition for many Japanese families. They even have to pre-order their buckets weeks in advance.
That's wild. I guess you could say Christmas really is a global phenomenon.
For sure. But, okay, let's talk about the other side of the coin. What are some of the downsides of all this Christmas consumerism? Because it's not all sunshine and reindeer games, right?
Definitely not. The biggest concern is that the true meaning of Christmas gets lost in all the shopping frenzy.
Yeah, I've totally felt that pressure to buy the perfect gifts for everyone, even if it means going into debt. It's like suddenly you have to buy love and appreciation in the form of expensive gadgets and designer handbags.
It's so true, and the stats back it up. Almost 40% of Americans end up with credit card debt after the holidays. That's a lot of financial stress for a holiday that's supposed to be about joy and togetherness. And then there's the environmental impact to consider.
Right.
All that packaging, all those disposable decorations, the increased travel, it takes a toll on the planet. One study found that carbon emissions jumped by 25% during the holidays.
Whoa, 25%. That's like adding a whole extra reindeer to Santa's sleigh. And not in a good way.
Maybe it's time we all took a step back and thought about how we can celebrate Christmas in a more mindful and sustainable way, right? Like maybe more homemade gifts, less plastic, and experiences instead of stuff.
I'm down with that. Imagine a world where the most sought-after Christmas gift is a hand-knitted sweater from Grandma or a weekend getaway with the family.
I love that. It brings back the focus to what really matters, spending quality time with the people you love. But okay, get this. You know how we were just talking about how Christmas is this global thing? Well, apparently not everyone's on board with the whole Santa and reindeer parade.
Wait, seriously? Who doesn't love Christmas?
Right. But apparently some countries actually ban Christmas celebrations.
No way. You're kidding, right? Why would anyone want to ban Christmas?
Well, it's often tied to cultural or religious reasons. For example, in China, there's a growing movement to protect their own traditions and limit the influence of foreign festivals like Christmas.
It's like a cultural preservation thing. Interesting.
But isn't Christmas a huge commercial event in China, too? I've seen those pictures of massive Christmas markets in Shanghai.
Exactly. It highlights this interesting tension between the government stance and the commercial reality on the ground. Many businesses still capitalize on Christmas for marketing, but there are restrictions on public displays and celebrations, especially in schools and government offices.
So it's like this cultural tug-of-war between tradition and commercialization. That's pretty fascinating.
And like those old Westerns, but instead of cowboys and Indians, it's Santa versus, I don't know, Chinese dragon.
Okay, maybe not the best analogy, Joe, but you get the idea. So what about other countries? Any other Christmas cancellations?
Another example is Saudi Arabia. As an Islamic country, non-Islamic holidays like Christmas aren't officially recognized. And in the past, public celebrations were a big no-no.
That makes sense, I guess. Different cultures, different beliefs, right?
But I thought we read that things are starting to change a bit in Saudi Arabia.
You're right. With recent social reforms, there's been a slight relaxation of those rules. You might find some high-end shops selling Christmas trees and decorations now, but it's still mostly kept low-key and private.
So it's like a slow but steady thawing of the Christmas ice.
I like that. Okay, spill the tea. What other countries are on the naughty list when it comes to Christmas?
Well, this one might not be a surprise, but North Korea has a complete ban on Christmas celebrations. It clashes with their ideology, and it's seen as a symbol of Western capitalism.
Yeah, North Korea definitely likes to do their own thing, that's for sure. But seriously, no Christmas whatsoever, no carols, no trees, no secret Santa.
Pretty much. There have even been reports that North Korea threatened to destroy a large Christmas tree that South Korea had erected near the border. Talk about taking the bah humbug spirit to a whole new level.
That's some serious dedication to anti-Christmas sentiment.
It makes you realize that what we consider normal for Christmas is very much shaped by where we grow up and the culture we're surrounded by.
It's like in some places Santa's bringing gifts, and in others he's persona non grata wild.
So we've got China trying to preserve their own traditions, Saudi Arabia navigating religious sensitivities, and North Korea going full Grinch mode. Any other contenders for the Christmas Grinch Award?
Well, Indonesia presents a more complex picture. It has the world's largest Muslim population, but there are also large Christian communities. So you have some areas where Christmas is celebrated openly and enthusiastically, while in other areas there's pushback from Muslim groups.
It sounds like a delicate balancing act they're trying to manage there.
Man, this whole Christmas thing is way more complex than I ever realized. It's not just about reindeer and presents. There are some serious cultural and political layers to this holiday.
Totally. It's like an onion, but instead of making you cry, it makes you think. And speaking of thinking, let's get into the psychology of all this.
Ooh, time for some brain science.
Does all this Christmas consumerism actually mess with our minds? Is there like a scientific explanation for why we go crazy buying presents and decorating our houses with enough lights to rival the Las Vegas Strip?
There's definitely a neurological component to all the holiday hype studies. Using fMRI have actually shown that anticipating a purchase like that must-have toy on Black Friday can trigger the reward centers of the brain releasing dopamine.
Dopamine. Isn't that the feel-good chemical that's also linked to like chocolate and roller coasters?
It's like our brains are getting a little hit of happiness every time we add something to our shopping cart.
Exactly. It's the same neurological pathway activated by addictive substances, which helps explain why some people get so caught up in this shopping frenzy. But the problem is that dopamine rush is often fleeting, and overspending can lead to buyer's remorse and financial stress, which kind of defeats the purpose of a joyful holiday.
It's like a sugar rush feels good in the moment, but then you crash hard later.
And you're left with a pile of presents you probably didn't need and a credit card bill that's scarier than Krampus.
Right. And marketers know exactly how to tap into these psychological vulnerabilities. They use scarcity tactics like limited time offers and doorbuster deals to create a sense of urgency and FOMO, fear of missing out.
FOMO is real, man. I've totally fallen victim to those Black Friday sales before. You get swept up in the madness and suddenly you're buying a kayak even though you live in the desert.
Okay, maybe not a kayak, but I get what you mean. It's like our rational brains go on vacation while our impulsive side runs wild.
And let's not forget the emotional manipulation. Those heartwarming Christmas ads with adorable kids and nostalgic music. They're designed to tug at your heartstrings and make you associate those positive feelings with buying stuff.
Man, those marketers are sneaky. They're like psychological ninjas using our emotions against us.
So basically, it's like a giant social experiment, and we're the unsuspecting lab rats.
Well, hopefully by understanding these tactics, we can become more savvy consumers and make more mindful choices.
Knowledge is power, especially when you're battling the forces of holiday consumerism.
So true. Okay, we've talked about the commercial side of Christmas, the cultural clashes, even the brain science. But I think there's another important aspect we haven't touched on yet, the emotional and psychological toll the holidays can take.
Yeah, it's not all snowflakes and candy canes, right?
Definitely not. Between the pressure to create the perfect Christmas family drama and the general chaos of the season, it's no wonder a lot of people end up feeling stressed and burnt out.
Exactly. And then there's seasonal affective disorder, SAD, sometimes called the winter blues, which can be triggered by the shorter days and lack of sunlight.
Oh, I definitely feel that sometimes. It's like my energy levels just plummet when the days get shorter. I just want to hibernate until spring.
Me too. But with a constant supply of eggnog and Christmas cookies, of course.
Well, the lack of sunlight can actually disrupt our circadian rhythms and affect our mood, sleep patterns, and energy levels. It's a real physiological phenomenon, not just a case of holiday blahs.
So it's not just in my head, there's actual science behind my winter slump.
That's why self-care is so important during the holidays. It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of shopping, decorating, and socializing. But we need to make sure we're also taking care of ourselves, both physically and mentally.
Word. Maybe instead of stressing over finding the perfect gift, we should all just give ourselves the gift of relaxation. A massage, a long bath, a day off from social media.
I love that idea, and maybe a little extra sleep. I feel like I'm running on fumes this time of year.
It's all about finding balance. Indulge a little, but also prioritize rest, healthy eating, and activities that bring you joy.
You know, we're all about finding joy here at Sip and Talk, right?
Always. It's in our name after all.
And speaking of joy, isn't Christmas supposed to be about something deeper than just presents and parties?
Absolutely. Whether you're religious or not, there's something powerful about the messages of hope, love, and peace that are associated with Christmas.
It's a time for reflection, gratitude, and generosity.
And mistletoe.
See, I knew you'd come around.
Okay, mistletoe too. But seriously, I think it's important to remember that Christmas is a time for giving back to others.
Absolutely. Whether it's volunteering your time, donating to a charity, or simply performing acts of kindness, there are countless ways to spread the Christmas spirit and make a positive impact on the world.
You know, I've always loved the idea of paying it forward. Like, maybe instead of buying another sweater I don't need, I'll use that money to donate to a local food bank or buy a warm meal for someone in need.
That's a wonderful idea, Joe. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture either. Even small acts of kindness can make a big difference. Holding the door for someone, offering a genuine compliment, simply smiling at a stranger.
Exactly. It's often the small, everyday acts of kindness that have the biggest ripple effect.
So this Christmas, let's all challenge ourselves to spread a little extra cheer. Who's with me?
I'm in. Let's make this a December to remember for all the right reasons.
I love that sentiment. Remember, Christmas is about so much more than just presents and decorations. It's about connection, compassion, and giving back to others.
And mistletoe.
Okay, Joe, you win. But seriously, folks, from all of us here at Sip and Talk, we wish you a happy, healthy, and meaningful holiday season.
Cheers to that. And hey, if you're looking for some travel inspiration, interesting stories, and maybe a few laughs along the way, not to mention some epic whiskey reviews, be sure to check out our buddy Micky's YouTube channel, Mickytolife.
He's got some great content to keep you entertained all year round.
Until next time, happy holidays, everyone.
Cheers.